Okay, so while we're waiting for that water to kick off, which it's almost done, I went and cut all my scraps up, and I usually only like to work in pieces about this long, probably 3 feet. That's because if your stuff starts to kick off halfway through one of these strips, you're kind of screwed up. You're gonna have to grind off the hard pieces that don't end up getting laid up. So I like to do it in batches like this. It's also good to have somebody else with you making. I usually do 1 liter at a time, depends on the temperature, but having somebody filling the stuff up for you as you're going. I've done this a few times, so I can do it by myself now pretty quick. So on this one, you can see 3-foot pieces, ground everything down. And I'm going to go up because we kept the original. I'm going to go up and over and down halfway. And then the next one will come up and land it somewhere around here and down to there. And then from there we'll do one from here and then this one on top. Basically 2-inch overlaps on everything to start. I'm upside down now. And but have all your pieces cut, everything ready. This is 1708 or NewTek, I think they call it. So on this side it's your whatever you call it, mat, roving. And this side's the other stuff. It's all sewn together. It does take a lot of resin, but I can get a 1/4 inch and 2 layups with this stuff. It's basically doing 2 layups at once. If you're using the other stuff, you want to use the cat strand looking stuff first, and then this pretty stuff on top of it, and then the cat strand, and then the pretty stuff. Overlap every time, never go, like on my next one, I'll go over, down, lower to here. And we'll do 2 per, that'll give us a 1/4 inch on it, all the stringers. This one here, because we don't have the original material, we've cut again the 3-foot pieces, and we'll sand that out and we'll go like that. And then the next one will come up and over about 1 inch, and then the next one will be down and up to here, and then so on and so forth, always going over top of your last layup. And it's pretty simple. It's basically like painting, air, air, air. I do it with my hands. When I get this wet, what I'll do is I'll flood coat the whole area that I'm doing. And I'll usually do, like for this stringer, I'll do the entire stringer, and then it's done. And then after that, you're just wetting down this, so you flip it so the cat strand side is up, get that wet, flip it over onto this side so the shiny side's all wet. Once it's all wet, then lay it down onto what you're doing. And then again, resin on the roller and roll the whole thing out until it's totally clear. If it's got any sign of white in it, you're not using enough resin. Chances are you're going to have a D-lam or an air bubble. So again, have all your pieces cut. For this stringer, I want to do all this at once, and then I'm probably going to want to break anyway. Respirator's right there, you're going to want that. Also, ventilation. I got the top open there. We got a slight wind coming from the north, so it's going to push right through the boat to the south. Getting sucked out of there, so that works. And our temps are really good to probably get this all done in one shot. That should be nice. And then while that's drying, I can start cutting all these pieces. I expect I'm going to have about a 20-minute work time. And then go from there. So we'll wash the whole, we got to sand all this stuff out first, and then we'll wash it all out with acetone where we're working, and start doing this. Once you're at this step, it's very, very discouraging because it will never change until you gel coat or start adding bulkheads. Everything's going to look the same except shiny every time you look at it. So that's that. On this front one here, I wanted to mention, you can see where I got all that stuff up there. So I've cut this, I wonder if you can see this, on an angle. And the reason for that is I want to lay this down, and I don't want it to go into that dip and stay. Actually, that's right there is exactly where I want it. You can see how that'll lay up there nice. And I've still got enough to fold over here. If this was this long, that's going to end up finishing like that. And it's a real bitch, you got to grind it all, so you got to make sure you're all down. And you see tearing it here on these edges, that makes a nice finish. On this edge I don't really care so much, you're not going to see it. So yeah, we'll get on this. This stuff is about ready to sand. And then when we get these in, I'll shoot you another vid.